Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, here we go. Second quarter, second hour, kicking off right now on this Friday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. No matter where you're listening to us from or how you're listening to us, we're going to catch up with our buddy Brandon coming up in a little bit. We've got some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. A little cream of the crop brought to you by, or just cream of the crop. We've got Pump the Brakes or Full Throttle brought to you by AJM Automotive. We'll get back to some more baseball talk. We've got a little football chat here as well. There's a lot of teams opening up rookie mini camps this weekend too, so... But hey, let's kick off this hour like we normally do every Friday morning, catching up with our doc, Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for a little inside the training room. Good morning, Austin. Happy May, buddy.
Yeah, it's a great day out there. A little brisk, but it looks like it might shape up to be a nice day.
Absolutely. Hey, I gotta start off with a little bit of baseball because we've had a few listeners already asking if I could ask this to you, but. Yesterday, Brewers pitcher Brandon Woodruff only didn't even last 2 innings in his starts, and the big thing is that his velocity was down, and we're talking not just a couple miles per hour. I mean, there was 79-mile-an-hour pitches, low 80s and such, and Pat Murphy said that he didn't feel injured, but he said he felt like his arm was just dead. He's underwent an MRI yesterday. We don't know any of the results and such, but how concerning would this be from what I just kind of told you, what maybe that you read, that a pitcher where he says his arm just feels dead and his velocity isn't there, especially when you know Brandon Woodruff's shoulder history and that surgery he had a couple years ago?
Definitely concerning. Obviously, the fact he's not feeling symptoms is a great sign because if you combine those two, then the prognosis will be very poor. So it is possible that it's nothing serious, but one of the common hallmarks of issues in the shoulder, especially with the labrum and superior labrum, is pitchers will describe a loss in velocity. And so that's one of the kind of characteristics that we see. They're just not able to generate the same throw. But usually that is accompanied by pain. So like I said, not a guaranteed bad thing, but certainly a red flag. And so I'm sure everyone's going to be waiting with bated breath on the MRI results. You know, the challenge is with a previously repaired shoulder, the MRIs aren't always as conclusive as we like to think. So it would not shock me at all if this ends up being a second opinion, third opinion kind of scenario, unless he bounces right back, of course. But if it remains symptomatic, he may end up getting one or two opinions from shoulder guys around the area or country, I should say. But ultimately, it's really going to, more than anything, it's going to be, I guess number one would be the results of the MRI, and two would be how the shoulder responds. So if it's a little blip, because he had been doing well up until then, so that's kind of the thing that's a bit of a head scratcher. So to see a regression definitely raise your eyebrows. But like I said, almost universally, that is accompanied by pain. They lose velocity because it hurts to throw. They can't cock back as far, or it affects their follow through, and it changes their velocity and accuracy. But when they just have the loss of that without pain, like I said, a little atypical, but like I said, it does raise some red flags.
So just kind of like if you were doing the MRI and you were looking at, what are maybe some of the things you would be looking at in that MRI?
The biggest thing for sure is the structures that were repaired, so the labral work that had been done previously. So when you look at the labrum, it is basically this ring of fibrocartilage that runs around the socket. So it serves a couple things. It serves to stabilize the shoulder. And so, especially in the front and back, it not only creates a bumper, if you will, it's also the attachment for the capsule and ligaments of the shoulder. On the superior top side of it, it's the attachment for the biceps. Now, throwers are notorious for getting issues in that superior and posterior superior labrum. So the other thing you might be looking for is signs of what we call internal impingement. So anyone who's had a labral repair, especially in that superior and posterior aspect, they can develop excessive tightness back there. And that's the balancing act when you're doing the surgery. You don't want to over tighten it because especially with a thrower, when they throw, the mechanics of the arm, and we've all seen pictures of when the pitcher's got their arm all the way back, we call it the late cocking phase, where the arm is way back. If there isn't enough laxity, if you will, in the posterior capsule, they create what's called internal impingement. So the rotator cuff rubs down onto the superior and posterior labrum. And so you'll look for these hallmark signs in the back of the humeral head as well. So the big thing to look at would be that labral area and then that kind of posterior superior head / rotator cuff area. And those, if you see inflammation edema there, then he may be developing some impingement. Now, that actually may not be the worst thing in the world because often you can rehab through that. Now, if it's resulted in re-tearing, that's a problem. So I guess it depends on what it shows. But that would be the area I'm sure they'll be really focused on.
Interesting. So, yeah, just it's kind of, I think when you factor in his injury concern and such, it's got a lot of Brewers fans and maybe even Brewers people really concerned about what, how long he could potentially be out and such. So,
yeah, I mean, it really depends on what they find. I mean, this could be a short stint, just kind of get the shoulder stretched out and strengthen back up, or it could be, all right, we need to talk about revision reconstruction. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Let's switch to hoops wise. Your Timberwolves moving on even without Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo. Let's start off with Anthony Edwards because when he suffered that injury, the video it made me kind of like cringe, like, ooh, that looked really bad, but also probably gave myself and other Bucks fans flashbacks to Giannis and such with his knee a few years ago. Same thing, would you say? I mean, they said it's a bone bruise, hyperextended knee, so luckily it avoided the ACL, but is that the same thing that Giannis suffered when the Bucks won their championship?
Virtually identical. So, I mean, again, I would say Giannis has looked a little more extreme even. I think that his probably went a couple more degrees into hyperextension. But either way, I mean, you could see Ants clearly went in a natural direction. I mean, his knee, and now some people's knees do naturally hyperextend a little bit. No one's do that much, really. So, I mean, his knee went in, I'd call it 5 to 10 degrees of hyperextension. And so when that happens, it unfortunately can result in an ACL tear. Luckily, we dodged that bullet. But even so, I mean, if you were to take a snapshot x-ray of the knee and when it's maximally hyperextended, the femur's driving into the tibia. So they'll get these very characteristic bone bruises, usually in the femur, but you can get them on the tibial side as well. So it'll be the front of the tibia and the front kind of superior part of the femur. I mean, bone bruises, on some level, they're not necessarily a really bad thing. I mean, because generally they heal on their own, although there are some potential long-term implications I can chat about in a second. But, for the most part, you're basically playing through pain. But so people are like, oh, if it just hurts, just tough through it. I mean, it can be the point where, like, you can't put weight in the leg, like that bad of pain. So I don't care how tough you are. If your body's saying, I'm not going to let you push off on this leg, try playing an NBA game, right? It's not happening. So, but it is variable. I'll be honest. I mean, Giannis got back way sooner than I thought he was going to on your guys' championship run. So, is it possible Ant's back for the Spurs series? Well, I'm hoping so. But, I mean, it is not uncommon to see people miss weeks, plural, with this. I mean, even in a month, sometimes if the bone bruises are bad enough. Now, his didn't look like a horrific hyperextension, so maybe his will be on the lower end. But it's going to be all about what we see as far as how the knee bounces back. Now, that's the short term. Occasionally, when you see a really bad bone bruise or bone contusion, what you see is like maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year later, you can start getting cartilage damage that appears late. And that's the same reason that people with like ACL injuries can have late cartilage injuries, is because they basically have a really bad bone bruise. Now, that was from the ligament tear. But in this case, there's no ligament tear, but still that impact injury to the cartilage can result in a delayed presentation of cartilage stuff. So certainly hope that doesn't happen. I think in this circumstance, the odds are pretty low for that, but it is something that can pop up late.
And then Dante DiVincenzo, another Achilles tear. I swear, if you're a basketball player, wear number 0. Just change your number right now. Because, I mean, him, Dame, Tatum, Tyrese, for crying out loud, just get rid of the number. Yeah, no.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so, okay, obviously we've talked a lot about Achilles these last few years since you've been on the program and such. And, I've seen, speculation out there. I saw somebody kind of making a case. Is it shoes with the traction and all that? Is it fatigue? Is it all the above and that? But, I mean, this just seems like a crazy wave, especially at basketball, Austin, with all these Achilles tears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and the numbers are increasing. I mean, it's, for a while it was like, is this really a trend? But it is. I mean, we're seeing an increase in prevalence. I don't think we can pin it on one specific thing. Now, the mechanism is almost identical for everyone. Heavy eccentric load. So if you watch every single time, what's happening is they're driving off or landing, and what's happening is they're tightening the gastroc, or the muscle that pulls on the Achilles, as the leg is bending. So an eccentric load basically means you're pulling the tendon naturally from the movement of the body, plus you're trying to fire and push against it. So it creates this really strong load. And almost inevitably, there's some level of tendinopathy. Obviously, we don't biopsy every single patient that has them, but they've done studies in the past where they'll take like a little piece of the tendon and analyze it. And we know that tendon ruptures, whether it's like biceps or rotator cuff or Achilles or whatever it is, there's always some level of tendinopathy. So my guess is there's some level of increase in the tendinopathy that these athletes are seeing. I mean, is it because changes in training regimen? Is it something in the way shoes? Is it so? I mean, who knows exactly? I mean, if I had to just take a guess, I think part of it is, I mean, we're just seeing the athleticism, the size, the speed of athletes just keep getting more and more. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, you can't really quantify it easily, but I do think if you put an athlete in today's day and age, you know, back in the 60s or 80s even, I mean, I think they would just be a superior athlete. I mean, people are literally bigger, faster, and stronger. So, and the human body has not evolved over the past couple of decades, right? So you're asking the same structures to be able to withstand bigger loads, more dynamic, aggressive movements, and I think that's why we're seeing that. I think that's probably the biggest driving force. And so, you know, there's this idea of like, oh, you know, maybe we need to just manage load more, you know, as they call it, load management in basketball. And I don't know if that's necessarily going to do the trick. I mean, I think you're just going to see as guys are bigger, just like pitchers in shoulder and elbow injuries. I mean, they're throwing the ball harder. I mean, that is very quantitative, right? It's like miles per hour and spin rate. Those numbers have gone up. That means you're putting more stress on the shoulder and elbow. Same thing. These NFL players, because we're seeing it in the NFL, we're seeing it in the NBA, they're just bigger and faster, and they're just putting more load on the tendons, just not able to withstand it every time.
You know, you mentioned the load management part of it, and I've seen people say, well, maybe load management is the problem because, you know, basketball is an endurance sport. But, I mean, Dante played every single game this year, so you can't even make the case for that with Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's it. I really don't think that guys aren't out there enough. I think if anything, it's the opposite. But, I mean, where do you find that sweet spot? I mean, you know, to me, I think it has to do more with, again, just the size and athleticism and what they're asking their bodies to do. Sometimes we just get pushed to the brink, and it's like, look, it just can't go much past that. And I think we're starting to see that with pitchers in the shoulder and elbow, and you know, we're seeing it now in NFL, NBA players with, you know, Achilles injuries as examples. That it just, you know, you're kind of getting to the extreme of what that piece of tissue can tolerate.
Right. Yeah. It's just, I got to imagine, though, do you think there's going to be more studies done and trying, you know, these team doctors, physicians, or whoever the case may be, whether it's shoe company, they're going to try to figure out, you know, why there is this increase of Achilles injuries?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's going to be, I'm sure they've probably done like, you know, video analysis of injury patterns. But like I said, for this one, it's not a big head scratcher. It's again, you can almost guarantee it's that eccentric load. I mean, every single one. I mean, you know, a lot of times in NBA, what they're doing is they're dropping that foot backwards to drive forward. So again, if you look right before it goes, the ankle's actually dorsiflexing up. So they're putting more tension on the tendon and they're pushing off. So again, it's stretching and loading. But, you know, if a shoe company could come out and say, look, we changed our shoe and it's going to decrease Achilles tear rates, they might have themselves a product. Now, that'd be a big claim. They'd have to back it up with something. But, I mean, if someone thinks they can do something like that, I'm sure they will. So I don't see it being an easy fix, to be honest with you. But I'm sure someone's looking at ways that they can try to decrease that. So, you know, at minimum, it would be, you know, good stretching programs, warm up, you know, more tendon care kind of stuff. But it's not, I don't think it's as easy to just snap your fingers and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we did our stretches. It's not going to happen. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, it's not that simple.
You mentioned like the eccentric load in that, and, you know, just in how my mind works, you think about it, the NBA players, obviously, and then you look at the NFL, the players who we've seen tearing their Achilles, it's the quarterbacks, right? Maybe like a running back and a receiver. You don't hear too much about, you know, a lineman or anything like that, or even baseball. Yeah. We don't hear those injuries really that often.
Yeah, they're not nearly as common. I mean, I'm trying to think of the last baseball player I've seen with an Achilles. I can't think of a baseball player that's had one. Certainly, the more dynamic movements are going to do it. In basketball, I think you get it just because you get so much more change in direction, right? You're coming forward, backwards, the offense, defense transition, things like that. Loose balls, trying to make a quick cut, and so I mean. There's also just those dynamic loads that they put on the body, and I just don't think you see that as often in offensive and defensive linemen. So that's why it's not as prevalent. So it really has to do with that specific injury pattern. And similar with ACLs, I mean, they're just more common in the cutting, pivoting athlete because they're putting those dynamic rotational forces on the knee. Same concept. And the flip side is like major pec and triceps injuries that are like heavy chest loading, pushing. You don't see those other than generally speaking in like offensive and defensive linemen because they're just doing that. So the forces on the body are very much, different across positions in football. I mean, even though they're playing the same sport, they're doing very different things, right? I mean, and that's obviously, you can just tell by watching the game and what the body habitus is, and they're asking their bodies to do different things.
Last question for you. I want to go back to Anthony Edwards because I did save this to ask you. When he did suffer that knee injury, I know Shams from ESPN said that Edwards had been playing through runner's knee in his other knee. Now, I've heard of tennis elbow and all that stuff. Runner's knee, is that when I remember I had one of those, was it the patellar bands on the knee because everybody in the NBA had them? So I tried to be cool when I was a kid. Is that what that is the runner's knee?
Yeah, runner's knee is generally related to the kneecap area. So it's a little bit of a wastebasket term, but generally it has to do with either, the kneecap being irritated from not tracking well or having some friction or irritation beneath it. Some people do lump a little bit of the kind of patellar tendonitis, although that's more classically called jumper's knee, not runner's knee. But, we do see both of those things. And then a lot of people wear those straps for the jumper's knee and patellar tendonitis. But I think I'm not in this. I think, if you watch Ant's video, I think he landed on that leg because that was the natural leg to come down with. But occasionally you will see people compensate and put themselves in awkward positions because they're trying to not like, well, my right knee is sore, I'm going to land on my left knee instead. And the left knee is not in an optimal position, then you can get an injury. So there is definitely something to that. So that compensation resulting in an injury. I think in this one specifically, I think this was more of just like he went up for that rebound, kind of got hit in the air, so his body was being thrust backwards, and he just landed, and that left leg just kind of took it. So, but who knows? Maybe he was compensating and shifting his weight a little bit, and that resulted in it. So it may have played a small role. I don't think it was a causation, but it could have played a role.
He's Dr. Austin Crowe, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for our Inside the Training Room. Dude, appreciate the insight as always, man. Best of luck to your T-Wolves. And I don't know if you're a Wild fan too, but big night for Minnesota sports last night. So
it was, It was a good day to be a Minnesota fan. It's not always good, but it was last night.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy it, and best of luck, and we'll catch up soon. Okay, buddy?
Yep. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Dr. Austin Crowe, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get in Mr. Brandon Berg. He's coming up after these quick words. Big thanks, as always, to Dr. Crowe for joining us every Friday and breaking down the latest injuries in the sports world. Some good stuff there, especially kind of his insights on maybe what's potentially going on with one Brandon Woodruff. So, but maybe we'll find out a little bit more today. I know what I think Adam McCulvey had said that Brandon Woodruff was already undergoing an MRI yesterday. So, but we got Mr. Berg. Is that the new Timber Rattlers?
It is.
Hoodie?
It is.
Boy, nice. So you just need the Nashville Sounds?
I need something for the Sounds and the Wilson Warbirds. I believe that's what the new name of the team is.
All right.
The single A, not high A.
Not high A, yeah.
Regular A, I guess.
Low A?
Yeah. There's no more low A's because they used to have more minor league teams, but alas.
But, well, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm not bad, man. I'm not bad. So we've got, this literally just popped up on my memories. We were in Chicago this day 11 years ago. Feels like it was longer than 11 years ago.
It does.
But, yeah, the draft 11 years ago in Chicago. So, which you had texted me yesterday, round 3, possibly.
We'll see. I think it was Kevin Siefer from ESPN kind of reporting that there's some buzz in NFL circles that 2028 Minneapolis might be the favorite for the draft right now. So
yeah. All right. I guess I'm on hotel watch. I already let our guy know, and he's like on it. So, so we'll sources are on it. So, but I don't know. That's wow. At least it'll be a little closer to home. But
right, yeah, about half as close.
Yeah, but maybe a little. Maybe we could find kind of like Chicago, a little closer of a hotel to everything too. So
I don't know if that will ever happen again.
Yeah, that was just pure luck.
That was 100% luck.
Yeah, but all right. If you haven't been in the draft and you still want to, there might want to pay attention here in the near future. So, but rookie mini camps going on too. We've got fifth-year options. The Packers did pick up the fifth-year option for Lucas Van. Did the Vikings have one up for? Did they have a first?
Yes,
okay.
It was. It's Jordan Addison.
That's right.
I think they had previously said they were going to. I don't know if they officially have yet, but I think they said they were going to.
Now that you said that, yep, I remember that. So that's the deadline is today for those teams to pick up those fifth-year options. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I've heard a team so far that said they are not picking one up. I'm sure there is.
Who was it?
I guess I could look up the tracker.
Right. I know I'd seen it.
Okay. Fifth year option tracker NFL. Here we go. So of the 2023 first round picks, Panthers, Bryce Young, yep. CJ Stroud, yep. Will Anderson, he ended up signing a big deal. Oh, Anthony Richardson, nope.
That was the one. Yeah. I know there was other ones, but that was the one that was like.
Yeah, that there's like not even anything written next to it. So it
just says nope.
Yep. Just nope. Otherwise, and Broderick Jones from the Steelers. The Steelers are declining. And a lot of it, I think it's with that neck injury that he's been going through too. So yeah, there's a couple over here too. So, but for the most part, it looks like a majority are picking up the fifth year option, which. All right. Yeah, that means that pretty good, decent draft class and such. I don't think I'm too surprised Green Bay picked it up with Van Ness and such, and that doesn't mean that they can't maybe potentially work out a deal, if they want to lower that cap hit and such. But, we'll see how it all plays out. So, but, all right, Brandon, we got plenty of Brewers chats here this morning. Happy May, by the way.
It's going to be May.
It's good. I avoided saying that all day, and you had to be the first one, JT.
Yeah,
so
bring it in.
How dare you? How dare you? But, we were having a little fun in the first hour because C-Bomb saying Wisconsin needs a hockey team. But with the Wild winning and such, because it pains him to cheer for a Minnesota team. But, hey, like I said, I tried my best in sixth grade with the Wisconsin Polar Bears.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. So
Gary Bettman wasn't listening?
No. Governor Thompson wasn't listening. That sixth grade project didn't get me anywhere. So I might have just done it because I think my social studies teacher at the time was actually the Medford hockey coach. So I might have been trying to
get some brownie points.
Yeah, I think that's why I did it. So, but I'll admit it. I honestly think, no offense to my Kraken, but if Wisconsin ever got one, I would be a Wisconsin fan. I don't have a breaking news. I don't have a long allegiance to the Kraken, like you do with your Penguins.
You would have with the Mammoth if they
If they would have had a different name, then that would be tough. But hey, maybe Wisconsin, we can get to the Wisconsin Sasquatches. But getting off complete tangent. A couple days ago, I was reading an article from radio. It's like a radio website and such. They're making the case that radio shows, stations need mascots, and they use an example, one out in Washington, Cash Squatch. Sasquatch stuff is, we need to get on this thing. That's our mascot.
I think you should sell the Dandy Trophy.
Ooh. We'll have to get that made. That's Bigfoot and Batman arm wrestling. There might be some copyright stuff with that one. But
it is Bigfoot and what's a royalty-free way we can introduce Batman?
Maybe kind of like do something different. Yeah, there we go. Bat guy?
Bat person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
there's got to be a way.
I like that. Yeah. What do we got?
All kinds of stuff is just popping up for you, apparently.
I don't know what that means, C-Bomb. He texted all in caps. I don't even know if I want to say it out loud. I'm not going to. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
If I say it, there's nothing wrong with it, but if I say it, there's going to be like,
wait.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pump the brakes on that one. Speaking of which, we got a little pump the brakes, full throttle. I think he's talking about the draft. Okay. Because he texted, I'm coming. So I think he's talking about the draft. I was like, are you coming to over here or something?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what he was.
Showing up with coffee.
I could have. Yeah. Really? Surveyor chimed in and said, hey, since we're talking hockey, let's all cheer for Tampa Bay Lightning center and my future brother-in-law, Dominic the Dom James. That's your future brother-in-law? All right. I don't want to cheer for the Lightning, though.
Yeah. Congratulations. But, yeah, they're going against Montreal and the pride of Stevens Point.
Yeah.
Cole Caulfield.
Yeah. Do you think Wisconsin, taking away financial and without getting that whole, from a fan standpoint, can Wisconsin support a hockey team, do you think?
I don't know. Like, the state likes hockey. I don't know if it loves hockey.
Okay.
Like, that would be the thing. Like, because you obviously, there's...
It'd have to be like in Madison, Milwaukee, right?
Yes.
For them to...
Yes. And, Madison, really the only place NHL worthy would be the Kohl Center. Obviously, that's already pretty busy.
Yeah.
I don't think you would be able to do it by building a new venue.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to go somewhere there already is somebody else. Wasn't that kind of the thing with the Bradley Center?
I think
when it was built, it was built in part because of trying to lure a hockey team.
I think you're right. What's that other? They used to have the state basketball tournament in Madison. What's that other venue?
Well, I would say Allegiant. Alliant Energy Center.
Alliant Energy Center. That's
that's.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Last time I was there was in 2020 for state hockey, and it was.
Okay. Enough said.
It was not. It was not in a pristine working condition to host an NHL team.
Got it. All right. So that's. I was trying to, because I don't know what and I don't think the Pfizer can convert.
I don't think it was built with that in mind, and those are really your only options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because you would need something with at least 15,000 capacity. So those are really the only places.
Right.
I mean, we've got NAHL teams with Triple Steel, Janesville Jets, Wisconsin Wendigo. You've got the USHL with the Green Bay Gamblers, the Madison Capitals. So. Mm-hmm. You have hockey teams, but obviously it's a little different with those being junior teams.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think honestly I think it'd be fun too.
It would be fun. It's just
I would divert my allegiance.
It would be tough because I think either one, when you're jumping in, you're either jumping into I would assume in the southeast part of the state you have a lot of Blackhawk fans. Mm-hmm. I would just assume. I mean, obviously we know around here you have a lot of Wild fans.
Well, that's what I feel like it's even when the Blackhawks a few years ago were going through their runs in that, I was surprised that I knew a lot of Blackhawk fans around my age or a little bit younger. And I don't know if that's because they were hockey fans before the Wild, so they had to gravitate towards,
and then,
towards the team.
Probably didn't follow, obviously the North Stars went to Dallas, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of just what I assume with there being no, NHL team in Wisconsin, that it's regional depending on which part of the state you're from.
Right. And maybe that gap in between when there was no Wild after they moved and then that sort of thing. And I was a Red Wings fan as a kid for a hot minute just because of NHL Live 95, and I'd always play as the Red Wings with Stevie Y and Sergei Fedorov. So and they were always on TV and they won. So I mean that's
good. Yeah, they were
they were dominant.
Peak at that point.
Exactly. But I honestly I feel like if Wisconsin did have a hockey team, I'd probably be a big fan. I love going to those games.
Hockey's fun.
It is. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with plenty more coming up after these quick words. It is a busy weekend, but a fun weekend going on at the VFW Post at 305 because tomorrow at 3 p.m. got the American Legion Baseball Meat Raffle. So join VFW Post 305 at 3 p.m. to help raise some funds to support American Legion Baseball. And then right after that at 4 p.m., you got the Derby Party. You got a Derby Party going on over there. Prizes for best hat. You don't have to wear a hat, but prizes if you want. So that's starting at 4. And then, because we got the Eau Claire Marathon going on this weekend too, the Eau Claire Marathon post-race party. Wear your race bibs after the races and enjoy a free ice-cold tap beer courtesy of your friends from the VFW Post 305. So if you're wondering where to go this weekend, you got a few options, and it's right there at the VFW Post 305. Lots of good stuff happening over there. Donna does a fantastic job with all these events and such. So, but hey, speaking of a little baseball, Brewers offense coming alive again yesterday. The summer of Sal is just starting to heat up. Temperatures a little cold in the morning, but Salvatore, 2 home runs. He's got 3 on this year, by the way. That's more than Jackson Churio and Christian Yelich. I'm just saying.
It's more than Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb, too.
Hey, it's 3. I got to take 2 in this 3-game series here. So, but obviously the biggest concern is Brandon Woodruff at this point in time. So we don't know yet if he's going to be on the injured list and that sort of thing. But it sure seems like if there was an injury to happen, the position that the Brewers are maybe best suited to fill that is starting pitching. Would you say? Because of who they got in the minor leagues at this point?
I mean, it's a scenario where you feel pretty confident of who that next person might be to step up. And I think yesterday Coleman Crowe pitched at AAA.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's options that are kind of...
Logan's been awesome so
Logan
far.
Anderson's been great. So you've got options there. So it might be even one of those things where if you're the Brewers, you can afford to kind of take it a little bit slow with Woodruff, as much as he probably doesn't want to, because he's this is something he's had to deal with the last several years, even though it's as of right now not really diagnosed as any sort of injury. It just seems more like a dead arm,
right? Which
to me, and I don't know if that's just me being me, but I thought that was good news.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
And you hear Dr. Crow, too, say he said he didn't feel hurt, so there's no pain. Feel hurt.
And we'll know more, I'm sure, when they get, with the MRI and stuff. Like, if nothing comes back, it might be, just sometimes stuff happens.
Right. Yeah.
When you throw a baseball, 93, 94 miles an hour for a living, sometimes your arm's just not going to be there.
Right. Yeah, you just kind of maybe missing a turn or two or something like that.
Right, yeah, and that's one where maybe you just give them the minimum stay in the IL and just kind of see where you're at, just because you can do it.
Right, yeah, and so, but we'll kind of wait and see how that goes. But you look at the minor league system here too, since we're talking about that. I mean, Cooper Pratt's hitting well now.
He has started to kind of overcome a slow start, picked it up.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, we know the left side. I mean, Jet Williams hit a walk-off home run the other day. So maybe putting a little bit more pressure on the left side of that infield.
Maybe. Well, now that we're getting into May, I do think Luis Rengifo has been better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been definitely some signs of life there. Had a big hit yesterday with a big double early on. I just think he's been, kind of been able to put together more. But, yeah, obviously, it's been a struggle for Joey Ortiz. And, David Hamilton, I think offensively has been better than expected. I mean, he's a singles hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got on base at a good clip, a lot of them on bunts. But and he can steal bases, but still, I don't think he's a guy you want starting 4 or 5 times a week.
Right.
It's a to me, even when they traded him, I kind of thought okay, he's kind of like one of the almost ideal backup infielders because he can play those. He can play 3-4 times a week if you need to, bouncing around, but. Offensively, there's just not enough punch there to do it. But it's a good guy to have on your team. We've seen he's a winning player. He's the type of player good teams have. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you play a ton or have to.
Let me ask you about this guy because I don't think he's been talked a whole lot about, but he is performing really well so far this season at AAA. Luis Lara, which I didn't realize he's only 5'7", and he's
he's a small guy.
Yeah, but he made a sweet diving catch the other day. Here too, and obviously, you see the outfield, and that's going to change with Cheerio coming back. I understand that, but essentially, is he maybe not up because of Garrett Mitchell at this point?
Could be. I mean, Luis Lara, for people who don't know, is prospect. He's still I think he's 21. Mm-hmm. He's still young, but the offense really seems like it's blossomed this year. And last year, playing in AA, I think it's just tough because the Southern League generally is a very pitcher friendly league.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the thing with Cooper Pratt, where you looked at his numbers and thought, well, that's not very impressive. But then you factor in, okay, well, it's a very pitcher, heavy league or pitcher-led league where it's harder to hit. And suddenly they look a little better. So, but for him, I mean, the power seems like it's developing. I think he's already got more home runs this year than he had, at any stop in the minors beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But his calling card's his defense.
Yeah.
He's a switch hitter. He's a fantastic defensive outfielder. I think he won a Gold Glove for the minor leagues for defense. I mean, he can go get it. So,
he's got 12 stolen bases already this year,
and
too.
And the speedy guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in many ways, like, to me, it's like, just with that profile, it's like, I think Blake Perkins, but like better. But like maybe more offensive upside.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right. It's tough because, assuming Jackson Chourio sounds like, barring something crazy, we'll be back for the Cardinal series next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think then you kind of, I don't really think there's a place for him at that point because then you can go Chourio, Mitchell, Frelick.
Mm-hmm.
You still mix in whoever, but
probably like a Lockridge, I would imagine.
That's a good call. Lockridge is probably your next man up there. So while he's playing really well, I think right now he's kind of afforded the luxury if he can just keep playing well at AAA and then.
Because you're bringing him up, you got to play him.
And that's the thing with any of these young guys. Like if you're bringing up a young guy, you can't bring him up just to sit on the bench.
Right.
That was kind of the thing with like Jefferson Kiro with the backup catcher spot. Like you're not bringing him up to only play once a week because we know William Contreras is going to want to play every day.
Right.
Like it's not like other sports where you can develop people kind of behind the scenes a little bit or in practice and stuff like that. Baseball, you develop by playing.
Yeah.
That's why baseball and minors do play every day, every day by Monday. So, for now, I mean, it's a really good thing to see. And maybe once we get later on into the year, if there's an injury or something, maybe he pushes his way into the big league equation. But right now, it's just kind of one of those happy things that you knew he had some talent, but now he's kind of maybe taking another step.
Mm-hmm.
And you just say, oh, well, that's it's just another one you can kind of add to what is a really, really good farm system for the Brewers.
Right. And then, I know he made some highlights the other day, but Jesus Mate throwing 100 miles an hour, which still, first baseman picking it off of one hop was that was impressive too, just to be able to do that.
But being able to, I mean, you hear a lot about when Ellie De La Cruz rips off a big throw from shortstop to get somebody, but for a position player to be able to throw 100 miles an hour to make it, just taking a throw first.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, Jesus Mate so far has done everything you could hope for at AA.
Mm-hmm.
So
I imagine then, is it going to, whenever Cooper Pratt is called up, Jesus maybe
he could
moved up, and then who's is it?
It's possible, but
Pena and
Pena. I mean, Pena had that kind of scary thing last week where he just painted or whatever it was during the game in Peoria. So I think they're kind of. I don't know if he's been back in the lineup yet, so they might be just taking it slow with him because he can.
Mm-hmm.
But that's possible. But otherwise, I mean, there's still going to be other options for people to play shortstop at AAA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if the time comes, when Cooper Pratt comes up
down the road. Because this will be down the road, who's more likely to play short and second between Cooper and Jesus if they were on the same team together?
I think if Cooper Pratt is up, he's playing shortstop.
Okay.
Made has more versatility. He can play third. He can play second. I mean, obviously, third base or second base can depend a little bit on the timeline, just where where the Brewers are at with Bryce and also Bryce Rang. But like third base, I mean. He can throw 100 miles an hour. He's got the arm for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I would probably say is maybe Made ultimately ends up at third base, but
because Cooper really hasn't gotten any time at second, right?
No, no, and I think they've pretty much just focused him on shortstop. Like that's your spot. Like just that's you because defensively he can do it and he's very good at it.
Mm-hmm. Is it kind of like JJ Hardy-esque a little bit?
Yeah. Where it's just like okay, like. We know you could probably play other spots, but you just play shortstop. Like we're just gonna have you play shortstop.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a quick break here as we start to wrap up the second hour, but we'll have more Brewers talk coming your way. We've got some local sports roundup, cream of the crop, and the Pump the Brakes Full Throttle brought to you by AJM Automotive. Quick break, and we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Just a few minutes left until the top of the hour here. Reminder, after we're done, Brandon and I are going to be recording a new episode of the podcast every Friday, a little TGIF version of the Man Cave Pod. We're going to do it. It's the softball podcast.
The softball podcast. We've been talking about this for a bit.
Yep. So I think, because I had texted you about like doing kind of a throwback 80s, 90s, early 2000s. I feel like softball was bigger, slow pitch softball.
But a lot of things were. Like, it feels like bowling was. Like,
Yep.
Like, I feel like pool. Maybe like darts and pool and stuff like that too. Like I know it still goes on around here, and that's great.
Right.
But like, I don't know if it was as prevalent.
Yep.
Especially, I can especially speak to softball because that's one of the things I actually did.
Right. And so you've got a couple hours yet if you want to share some appropriate stories.
Right. Let's
or memories.
Nothing that will get you in trouble.
Exactly. You can text it or hit us up at the podcast email, mancavepodmail@gmail.com. So like C-Bomb, if you're listening, tell us about when you became state MVP at the state tournaments, Class D state MVP, C-Bomb, a.k.a. Chadwick. So,
Class D MVP.
Yeah.
It rhymes.
Class D MVP, man. So, but this one might go for about an hour if we kind of go back and forth and such. So, but the good old. I was just talking to somebody that used to play with. We had opening day for a little league, and afterwards we were just kind of hanging out. I'm like, this is what I miss about softball, and I'm like, I just want to play one more. We talked about that too. So, but yeah, I don't even. Gosh, yeah, we'll get to. I'll save.
Yes, we've got.
I'll save it for when we get to the pod. So, but yeah, you got about 2 hours if you want to share some good memories, or maybe kind of say, what teams did you play on? Maybe we played against each other.
Maybe.
So, or what was your favorite tournament? How about that?
There we go.
If you were a player, where was your favorite tournament? Because I even think wasn't that the big thing, like fairs and or days or whatever you want to call them? Festivals,
town festivals.
Mm-hmm. It was always I remember that when we would try to find tournaments, you're looking through the festival things, like did it list softball tournament on there?
And amongst all of the other things.
Mm-hmm. Yep, volleyball tournaments, those were big too. So, but it should be a fun one. But that's coming up after 10 o'clock. So make sure you are following the Man Cave Pod audio on Spotify and Apple, and we'll have the video version up on YouTube too. So really quick surveyor's question. We get to tag team this one.
Okay.
He says, in the history of Major League Baseball, there have been 7 teams to never reach 100 wins. Can you name all 7? This includes teams that have moved. So 7 teams that have not reached 100 wins.
I think we can do that.
I think I saw something on TV where it was, can you name a team? Maybe it was this one, and I didn't get to watch it all, but it was a trivia question about, was it 100 losses? A team that's never had 100 losses? I think it was the Angels was the answer, something like that. But because it was like my kid watches MLB Network all the time now. So, but all right, shot clock's gonna cut me off. So we've got some news updates. We'll kick it off with a little cream of the crop. Our third quarter, we'll do a little cream of the crop coming up after these few words.